I took a drive out to the junkyard to see if I could get some parts for Cyclone's El Camino. I didn't find everything, but at least got some of the parts for a little bit cheaper. So I head back home with the parts I managed to get and was going to order some new parts that we were missing. Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of My Garage Revivals. Alright, so this morning I came to fetch some wheel covers for our trailer as well as a very much needed winch. This will help us to get cars loaded onto our trailer a little bit easier. So yeah, we've got a couple of things going on at the shop, so let's make our way back over there and then we can see what is going on. Alright, and we are back at the shop and our pickup truck is very dirty because the junkyard has got a gravel road you need to drive on. So as you guys know, we were there yesterday. It is Monday morning now. So yeah, we've got quite a lot of parts laying here for Cyclone's truck. I did have to order some new parts as well, which are currently laying here at the front. So this is pretty much our work for today, is to see if we can get this installed onto the El Camino over there. But I first want to just sort out our trailer because we are going to need this today again because we've got a new project car coming very soon. I do have some pictures of it over here. Alright, so yeah, I'm pretty much buying this car sight unseen. I've got no idea what it really has and what it doesn't have, but it was very cheap. So that is the reason why I just went ahead and bought it. So yeah, it's a third generation Pontiac Firebird, a 1980s. Not exactly sure the year model of it, but I think at this stage that car has been through so much, it's probably got a couple of years worth of Pontiac Firebird's parts on it. So yeah, that's going to be an interesting one, and we're going to see if we can get that car revived here on the channel. But also I need to try and finish up our Mercedes wagon, which we need to finish up the engine. So I do have some engine parts we need to install. Hopefully I've got everything to see if we can get that thing up and running again, and yeah, maybe even see if we can get it sold. So yeah, that is pretty much the first thing that I would like to do today, is to sort out the Mercedes wagon. And now that our trailer is pretty much sorted out, these wheels look a little bit too big for the trailer, but they do work, and that is what we have at the moment. Alright, so let's get over here. We've got pretty much a couple of parts we need to install now. I did go ahead and check a couple of other things as well off camera, like the head gasket. I did remove the cylinder head, and the head gasket is still perfect. So yeah, we're not going to go ahead and have to replace that just yet. So luckily it looks like it's one of those reusable gaskets. So that is amazing. Alright, so I'm going to start with our new oil pan. So we've got a brand new oil pan we are putting on here. The old one was a little bit leaking. So yeah, that is hopefully going to stop that issue. And then we will pretty much do the other parts we took off as well, because I've got some new glow plugs as well and a relay. We've got a new air filter. The oil filter, I did check it. So this is the old one. It's just going back in. It was cleaned up a little bit, so this can pretty much go back in. So that's just going to go in there, and then we can just slap the cap back on it. Alright, like that. Alright, so pretty much we've got a new fuel filter as well, which we definitely needed to replace because that was clogging up the system quite badly. And then we've also got a new fuel pump, which we'll need to tilt the engine a little bit for. Yeah, we're working a little bit in the dark here, so let's just get our lights switched on here for a minute. There we go, that's a little bit better. Now we can see what we are doing. Alright, so we've got a fuel pump. So this has got two bolts over there, and it's already got the fuel line attached to it, so we can just make sure these are all zipped down. Yeah, they are all nice and snug, so that is pretty good. We do have a new pulley we can probably slap on now as well. And then we can get our belt back on, our alternator belt, just like that. And then our fan should go on. There we go, no problem. Alright, so we are going to have to pry off the air filter box with our pry tool once again to get our new air cleaner installed. So let's go ahead and do that quickly. And there we go, just like that. We've got a fresh air filter in our engine. Alright, so I think it's just pretty much the glow plugs as well as the... yeah, a couple of things we need to put in, like the relay and the fuel line, and this thing can go back in the car. Obviously we need to mount our brand new valve cover, which I have painted with the touch-up paint. So let's get this installed. There we go, that is looking very decent. Alright, that is perfect. Alright, so now I just need to figure out how I'm going to do this. So I think it's going to be easier if we took the fuel pump off again. But we're going to see if we can manage over here. Alright, so that's the one. Alright, let's get all of these in place. The third one is number 4. It's number 5, and the last one over here. There we go. Alright, perfect. We're going to need our socket wrench for those. Let's just make sure they are all nice and snug. Alright, that is good. There we go. And just like that. Okay, all of our injectors are also tightened down, so just double checking that quick. Yeah, that's perfect. So that is looking pretty decent. Now, just a matter of getting our relay put into place over here, which is going to be a little bit tricky now with our fuel pump installed, but we'll get to it. Let me just see if I can reach those bolts. There we go. Alright, that is looking fairly decent. Alright, so our Mercedes wagon has got an engine that is pretty much ready to go back in. There was really not a lot of issues with this motor, which is actually a very good thing. Alright, let's get our bolts tightened up everywhere. We've got a couple of wires as well we need to address. The one on the starter over there. And over there. And over there. And then we've got our transmission we need to bolt down, which is also a lot of fun to do without the car on an actual lift. So we are going to see if we can get to most of these like this, and then we'll get our floor jack for now. So I think that's going to be the only way for us to do it is now, because we can't really move the car yet because there's no oil in the engine. And I don't want to move the car without all of the transmission bolts tightened down, so we're just going to have to do the old primitive way over here and hope we can get to all of those bolts. Alright, that is looking very decent. Alright, so let's grab our wrench over here and see if we can get to all these bolts. There's one over there. Alright, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, that should be the only one we really need to get done from down here. These were all done, so that is very good. Alright, so up next we're just going to install our exhaust system back on the car. So this will be easier if the car was lifted up on the side where the exhaust needs to go, but that is fine. We will try our best over here. Alright, that is our exhaust mounted. Now the last thing is pretty much the fuel line, which goes over on the side over here, and we just need to bolt it down on our fuel pump over there. Perfect. Alright, I think this car is pretty much ready for its fluids. We're going to need to top up the coolant as well now, because obviously that has all drained. Alright, let's get this thing lowered down. Okay, perfect. Alright, so now we just need to do fluids, and then I think everything is fine. Our brake fluid we don't have to do at least, so that is still looking fresh. Alright, so let me go and grab some coolant and oil for this thing. Alright, so let's start with our coolant. We're going to start pouring this down the radiator over here. And yeah, hopefully this is going to be enough coolant for this radiator. I'm sure it should. We've got 2 full bottles of coolant over here. So yeah, let's get this thing filled up all the way. And then we can do the oil. Right, so that is our coolant sorted out. So now we can start with the oil. So I believe we should be able to fit 3 bottles of oil in here, and then it should be on its mark. But yeah, as I would like to do it, I think we'll just put 2 bottles and check the level first. So yeah, let's get this put into the engine and see what it's all about. Alright, so we've got 2 bottles of oil in the car now, and I think we should be able to fit the 3rd one. We'll just see. If we overfill it, we can always drain a little bit afterwards. But I think this should actually do the job. So let's get the last bottle in here, and then we'll pretty much be ready to fire this thing up. Alright, so that is our oil sorted, and I don't think we need to drain any oil. It all seems to be pretty good. Alright, so this is going to be the moment of truth to see if this thing is going to start up a little bit better. Alright, so let's turn our key, wait for our glow plugs to do its job. And just like that, she runs. Yeah, I didn't expect to have any trouble anyway. And our engine's smoke is looking still white, so it's still cold. So that should turn a little bit black to a dark grayish color. So yeah, I think the engine is pretty healthy. So I actually think it's pretty much done. I don't think there's anything else I really need to do to this thing, except for take it for its inspection so that they can pretty much see if everything is up to standard. But I am pretty confident this car is in factory fresh condition now. So drop some comments down below if you guys think there's anything else we still need to do to this. But yeah, we did run a little bit of a poll on my Discord, and the choice was that the choices were, what was I going to do with the cars that I finished up building in the series. So the votes came back, and people want me to pretty much put the vehicles on auction and then sell it to the highest bidder. So now everybody might be thinking that usually that is a problem, because people end up bidding millions for vehicles that I have built or worked on. So what I'm going to be doing is we're going to put this thing up for auction for like a very small amount, and then the maximum bid step will be also a very tiny bit of money. We're actually just going to pull this through the car wash quick. So yeah, we will see if we can get at least a realistic price for this car. I'm hoping to get around the $50,000 mark for this, which I think is possible. I mean, it's a very fairly decent car, and it's got quite low mileage. It's only got 146,000. Unfortunately, our cluster we had to order is set on 200,000, so that doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. But yeah, the car's got less mileage than what the cluster says. So yeah, that is pretty much what's happening. So let's have a quick walk around this thing and just show everybody what we have done. Alright, so I think we can just pretty much park it up next to the El Camino, because I'm going to move the El Camino to that side so that we can get the floor cut out. Alright, let's get it put into park. Alright, so first of all, let's have a look around the Mercedes wagon over here. So I did notice the other day when I was putting the window winders in, there was a little bit of rust on this door. I did get that sorted out and painted up again. We did pull it through the car wash now, so this thing should be spick and span 100%. So we've got pretty much standard steel wheels all round with hubcaps, Mercedes hubcaps. It's got a stock inline 6 diesel engine, with the only modded part on this will be the valve cover, which is painted in the same color as the car. So it's a very clean little looking machine. So we do have the front grille over here, which has got the badge, everything installed. We've got some orange blinkers, some working headlights, so we'll go through all the lights quickly. So everything does work. I did change the bulbs in these, So let's get the car put into reverse as well. Alright, so all the headlights are working, the blinkers are working. Back here, all of the lights are working. The brake lights will also work if the tail lights are working. And we've got a trailer hitch also mounted to this, which came from Hugo's car. So this is the one that we took off his Challenger, and I've decided to just put it on this wagon because then this vehicle can also tow some trailers if it needs to. Alright, so yeah, pretty much body wise we've got the trim around the windows, which we were missing as well. So I did get that installed off camera. So there's the screw to that, and same on the other side. We've got all new windows in this thing, so all the winders pretty much should work. I've noticed on the wagon the rear doors ones are a little bit finicky, but yeah, everything pretty much works. We're gonna go ahead and open all the windows, so those all work. And there it goes, and there that one goes. So that is fairly decent. So I think this car turned out pretty good. If you look back at the first episode, in episode 2, when we got this car, you will definitely see a remarkable difference. So I think that is pretty much what we are going to do to this one. It came out very nice for our first project car, and I think it's going to fetch us a decent amount of money, hopefully, to get us closer to buying that shop we had a look in town. So yeah, that is pretty much my hopes over here for this vehicle, is to get us pretty much as close to 115,000 mark we need. Alright, so we are now going to continue work on Cyclone's Camino over here. So the reason why I put this seat in is just to drive the thing around. So this is the seat that actually came from our Mercedes wagon when we got it. So there's going to be a lot of parts coming off this thing. So I think we should work in the shade as well as have access to our lift. We are going to need to move our shop truck by the looks of it, but well, let's just drive it around. I mean, this vehicle is running and driving perfectly. Alright, let's get this thing pretty much pulled onto the lift here for now. So luckily I know Runus won't be able to comment on this video saying that I slammed doors, because there's no door on this car. Alright, so we'll just jump out like that. Okay, so I think first things first is let's go around what I have done to this thing off camera. I pretty much patched this corner of the hood with some Bondo, because that was pretty much the only damage this hood had. We did take our hammer and beat this panel straight again, so that is looking very decent. So we're going to have to be cutting off the rocker panel as well as the floor panel, the roof, this quarter panel. Yeah, obviously our fender has been removed. And then we also have to go as deep as our firewall, so we're going to be stripping out everything from here as well. So yeah, let's pretty much get into this. So I think what I'm going to do is start with the parts we can bolt off this thing. So obviously our hood needs to come off now, because we need to cut the actual firewall off. So that was just held in by one bolt, because I did take it off when I did the Bondo work, so that is why it came off so quick. Alright, so that is pretty much our hood off. So let's start on the inside. We've got our steering column, which we will take off. Alright, this seems to be in fairly decent condition still, so we're not going to have to bother with replacing that. So let's just put that down over there. Alright, our gear stick is also coming out, because that is part of the mounted parts on the floor. So it's actually so nice to have a table to work on now. So this was definitely a worthy investment. Alright, and then yeah, we are going to remove this seat we just put in here temporarily, so that we can pretty much get around to all the other bits we need. Alright, and there that is gone. So we are going to have to take off this door as well, which we're not going to bang against the post. We are going to push it forward slightly, open the door, and then we are going to loosen the bolts. Alright, there's our door. Still looking fresh. If you are wondering what happened with the other parts we took off the truck, I actually went to sell it this morning before I went to the shop for the fenders and the winch for the trailer. So that is what happened with those parts. So there was nothing salvageable over there. The cluster was broken, the dashboard was mangled, the door was beat quite badly. So yeah, that is pretty much what happened with those parts. Alright, let's get this wiper motor assembly taken off as well. I'll pop this on the table over here. Those actually look pretty decent still. Alright, and let's just get this pedals on the table as well. Keep them out of the reach of the raccoons. Alright, so yeah, that is most of that stuff done. So let's get our brake booster removed here. Alright, and there's a bolt down there. Alright, so this can go on the table. We might have to drain this brake fluid anyway. And then we can remove our wiper motor from here. I think that's the last part that's actually mounted to the firewall here. Alright, so there we go. That is pretty much everything from the firewall by the looks of it. So yeah, I think we should be good to start cutting this thing up. I don't think there's anything we need to remove other than the rear view mirror, because we've got pretty much a good rear view mirror that we can reuse over there on the interior. We also have to remove the passenger seat. Let's just get this taken off, because then our headliner can pop off. And there's our busted headliner. So we do have the sun visors on here, which seem to be fair, but I think, yeah, let's just see if we can take them off. I mean, it's going to be easier if we can just buy the headliner. That's if these things aren't mangled as well within the accident, but I doubt it. It looks pretty decent. Alright, let me get over here to this side. And we've got our second sun visor. So yeah, that seems to be salvageable. So we will order a new door panel in the right color for this truck as well. So this is a mangled part. So yeah, mangled parts we're just going to chuck over there for now. Alright, let's get our angle grinder and see if we can get this roof cut off. And it looks like that welding broke loose over there. Very interesting. Alright. Let's see what we need to cut for this roof to come off. Yeah, there we go. Alright, so it looks like the accident actually managed to get the welds loose as well on this thing. There's nothing salvageable about this. It's been kinked in quite badly on the side over here, so that is pretty much trash. Okay, so next up we are going to... Yeah, let me remove the seat now, because I keep looking at it, but I don't take the damn thing out yet. Okay, there we go. We've got those bolts out. Right, so yeah, this seat seems to be in decent condition, so you can just put it down over there for now. Alright, let's continue cutting, because I think I should be able to do the firewall and the floor, hopefully on the floor over here. Well, with the car on the ground. And if we do need to put it on the lift is right here, so that is also pretty decent. Alright, and let's see, this rocker panel is also very badly mangled. Alright, I think that is pretty much everything we need to cut off there. Alright, there goes our rocker panel. Alright, so the rocker panel, we do have a replacement for that, but we might have to sandblast it because it's a little bit rusty. Alright, over here, let's open the tailgate. Right, so we've got the inner skin and the outer part of this quarter panel as well, so that can pretty much come off. We've got a good taillight in here. Alright, but yeah, we'll see if we're gonna need that. I don't know if our donor vehicle's taillight, yeah, the taillight still seems decent. Whoops, and we just kicked something. Alright, so, and our floor is also pretty much removed. So yeah, just look at that damage. That is, yeah, that has been flattened quite a bit. Alright, so we also need to cut off this inner part over here, which we do have a replacement for. Probably need to cut it on this side over here as well. Just see if we can get that thing out. There we go. Alright, that is pretty much done. This rear left panel, we do have a replacement for that. And then as for the bed skin on the inner part, we'll just cut this off, because we do have a replacement for that. Right, this should actually be fixable. Let's just have a look quickly. No, I don't want to bother with that then. Alright, but we've got a broken window winder, which also obviously came from the door. And then we've got our handbrake lever, which we need to reinstall. This is a fairly decent looking one, so we'll see what that looks like. Alright, so the last part is pretty much this firewall, and yeah, I think the firewall is done. So that'll be pretty much the first part we come and weld into place, but before we do, as I always like, we will remove the battery. So we are going to start with the negative, and then the positive, and then there we go. Perfect. And this can go in the back of our truck for now. Alright, let's go and grab our brand new firewall over here. Let's just see if we can get this into place. Yeah, would you look at that? That is pretty much where it needs to be. Alright, let's get our welding machine out here. Alright, so one firewall getting welded into place. Very good, very good. Alright, so let's get our floor pan in place and also get this welded in. Alright, there was not really much to it. Just get everything welded up. Alright, I think that is looking very good. So I haven't been able to fully inspect this tailgate or the tail, well, the bed floor over here. It looks like we've got a little bit of damage over there, which I'm not sure if we're going to be able to knock out. We might have to replace this panel as well, but that's okay. We've still got a little bit of time to work on this truck. But one thing I do want to do now is get this handbrake sorted so that we can get this installed. I think it goes there, because it was a little bit of a mission moving this car around without a handbrake. And when I'm actually stopping it from moving around with the handbrake. Alright, let's get our passenger door back on. Alright, just like that. And that works beautifully. It lines up pretty decent too. Alright, so now let's get into our used parts over here. So we do have got a rocker panel. Let's just check this quickly. I think let's just wash everything before we put it on the truck. Yeah, we've got a tiniest bit of rust over there, which isn't too bad. Because our donor vehicle had quite a bit of rust actually. But yeah, that was a truck that I left in the junkyard. I didn't feel the need to actually bring the whole truck over here. The floor pan on that one was completely gone, as well as the rocker panel. Well, not the rocker panel, the firewall was also very badly damaged. It had holes right through, you could see through it. Alright. But I think this rocker panel should be rust free now. It looks fairly decent, so let's get this welded into place. Right, let's grab our welding machine again. Alright, that is pretty much that part done. Alright, so next up, let's start with our rear panel on the inside. So this just looks a little bit dirty. There might be some rust. Let's just wash it off. I think let's wash all the parts before we pretty much install it onto the truck. Yeah, see, there's some hidden rust over there. Nothing too hectic. I mean, that's pretty manageable. Alright, and then let's get our sandblaster. Oh, it's right over there. What am I doing? Okay. Alright, let's grab this nozzle. Alright, we are good to start welding that panel back in place. So let's see how our gaps are over here now. There we go. Alright, so it doesn't look too bad. I mean, we've got a little bit of work to do to this floor pan, but I think we should be able to get that straightened out. Might have to get a little bit of a bigger hammer, like a sledgehammer, but I think that is something we can actually salvage. Alright, so that's our inner skin. Let's do the outer one. This has got quite a lot of parts on it, so let's quickly remove that. We've got to pry off these things. Alright, they should be fine over here. Hopefully the raccoons don't come and grab it. Okay, and let's get that taillight removed, because we're going to be sandblasting here. Alright, just one small screw over there, and then there we go, that is taken out. So let's just put this on the table. We might actually reuse the one that we have on the truck. Alright, but let's see if we can sandblast this rust off. Alright, I think that is looking very decent. Let's just give it a rinse quickly. I don't know if there's going to be any dust left after sandblasting it like that. But yeah, that is looking pretty good. Alright, I think we are ready to weld this panel back into place. So let's do the welding first, and then we'll put all the trim and stuff back on. Alright, and let's grab our welding machine once again. And we'll come and weld up all of these bits over here. Alright, there's nothing to weld over there. So luckily we didn't have damage to our fuel tank. That still looks fairly decent. Right, I think let's just do this, because I want to check for the welds on the rocker panel over here. Let's just get it lifted up slightly. Right, that should do the trick. I think we've got all of these welds. I just wanted to double check. Yeah, that actually looks fairly decent. Alright, so there's no missing welds over there. Alright, so this can go down again. Alright, I think that is looking much better already, although we didn't even have our cab roof on, or our roof as they would call it. So this one fortunately came with windows that were still intact, so we can pretty much reuse that. But sadly it's got a bad headliner which we'll have to replace. So yeah, I think that's stuff we can do after we have painted this thing, because I do want to see if we can get this thing painted up very soon. Not too sure. I think I might actually send this one in for paint, because it's a customer vehicle and I want it to be done professionally. So that is pretty much what I'm going to do with all the customer vehicles that we get. Our own project vehicles, we'll try and DIY the paint job. So yeah, that is pretty much the idea over here, and I don't see any rust on this roof, so that is a very good sign. So I think that is pretty much good to go onto the car just like this. I'm not even gonna bother sandblasting anything. Alright, let's slap that on and then get it welded into place. We still need to install our inner panel. Let's just go around the other side with this. Alright, let's get this door open. We just see. Yeah, I think that is all the welding we need to do to the roof. It's actually very... Oh, before I forget. Last one over there. Yeah, that is the raccoons trying to steal the door, but luckily we got it back. Alright, perfect. Now, I think the last body panel we need to pretty much sort out is this fender, which is looking quite rusty. So let's get this washed off. Alright, and then I think let's just take the trim off before we sandblast that thing as well. Let's get the pry tool over here. Okay, perfect. We're just going to set that down over there. And our sandblaster fell over, but that's okay. We'll just carry on. Alright, and yeah, let's get this rust taken off. Alright, I think that is pretty much all the rust and all the paint as well. Fairly decent. Alright, so let's slap this thing back onto the vehicle over here. There we go. That is starting to look like a car again. So luckily for us, we had to buy a brand new door. So there's no rust on that at all. So let's come and grab the door over here. I did buy some replacement pedals as well, because I thought maybe those were bent in the accident. So let's just get this zip down. We did install the window from one of the donor vehicles and the small window, so that is something we have. So we did manage to find that. Luckily in the junkyard, it needs a little bit of a wash, but yeah, that is looking very good. Alright, so I think the last thing we need to do pretty much is install the inner panel and the hood. So this can go in this corner over here. And let's grab our welder over here. And just like that. Alright, that is pretty much that panel in place. Let's just put our angle grinder back in the toolbox now. Yeah, we've got a very multicolored Chevy Camino here at the moment. So that is, yeah, that is pretty much what it is. Alright. And then we will also see if we can get some more stickers for the other side. Pretty much this shop sign of Cyclones. We need to replace that for him on the driver side as well. So that is something we can do. But yeah, I think now we can pretty much just put this thing back together so that it's drivable, because we are going to have to drive it over to the paint booth, because that is pretty much the next step for this vehicle. So let's get all of these parts installed. Right, and let's not forget our cable here, or our brake line at the bottom. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so luckily these guys over at the paint booth, they are able to remove these things before they paint it again. So we can just pretty much get everything on, and then once it comes back from paint, we can just do the finishing touches and install the stuff we need or are still missing. Alright, perfect. Let's get our steering column in. There we go. Alright, and we can get our passenger seat back in. We do also have a brand new dashboard and cluster that's going in. Alright, let's zip the seat down again. Alright, so we need to get a driver side door card or a door panel, this thing in white. And we need to get a driver seat in white, but for now we're just going to roll with this one to make the car mobile. Alright, and that one, and that one. Perfect. Alright, so let's just do the new pedals, because we've got new pedals. They go over there. Right, now it's all these nitty gritty little things like the wiper motor. So let's get these installed before we do the dashboard. And this last bolt is always a little bit tricky to reach. There we go. Alright, and let's get this installed. Our wiper arms. And that is fairly decent. Alright, so now let's get our battery put back into the car. So we will start with the negative and then put the power on it. There we go. Perfect. Everything is safe. Alright, so we need our gear shifter. Alright, we need to replace this headliner. I see we actually did get some sun visors with this one as well. So if ours is mangled, we can pretty much get some of those fitted. Alright. And then up next, we've got pretty much just the taillight, which I do want to source from the part we removed from the truck. That's going to need a screwdriver. There we go. Alright, and this is the taillight in question. And there we go. This is the last piece of our puzzle for now. Right, let's get that opened up. And that is pretty much sorted. I think this car is pretty much put back together apart from the dashboard, which we're also going to need to install with the screwdriver. Let's just get that done. Alright, perfect. That is in place. And let's get this bolted down or screwed down, and there we go. Alright, so we are missing a couple of pieces of trim, some decal work, some paint, and then this thing will be pretty much back to its former glory, apart from the interior bits we need. But yeah, that has been quite an eventful episode, so I think we're going to be wrapping it up right over there. So thank you very much for watching. I do appreciate every view, every like. And also remember, if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. I will appreciate it very much. But yeah, until the next time, cheerio.